go with another great Big Ten video recall, and you saw those spectacular saves which helped Maryland win the national championship in 2019, and their outstanding goalie, Megan Taylor, make history. Hello, everybody. I'm Dean Linke, delighted to be joined by the Hall of Fame coach from the Maryland women's lacrosse team, Cathy Reese, who's been part of 12 of Maryland's 15 national championships, and of course, the aforementioned Megan Taylor, who won it in 2017 and capped her brilliant career in 2019. Hello, Coach Reese, and hello, Miss Taylor.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Well, when you're as good as Megan Taylor, you can't let her just fade off into the sunset, Cathy Reese. You got to bring her back. We got to pick outstanding games. All three of us picked our favorite moments from that great senior year. And as the host, finally, I get to go first. So for me, it was the game played at Maryland against the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. A lot of history there. So as we start to roll to it, this was an amazing game, an overtime game that featured Megan Taylor making big saves even when you were down a couple players. So let's dive right in, Coach Reese and Megan. This was a huge game to start the season in 2019.
I think it's really cool because you mentioned like the history, and growing up, like you always used to see like Maryland UNC, Maryland UNC. So to be in like this type of competition overtime game, like kind of makes me live out my like childhood dream. I remember like the very first game I got to play at Maryland, the full game was Carolina my freshman year. And then we went back the following year, you know, I have double pink eye during Carolina, and then we get to do all this crazy stuff. So it seems like Carolina and Maryland just always have like this really fun little battle. But I just think that goes to show like the history, like both teams are so fun to watch. And it was so cool because afterwards, I remember Cathy being like doing overtime, guys, like, let's just play lacrosse at this point. Like, I remember that so clearly. Like, she was so calm, so collective. So I was like, oh, like, right, we're just playing a Maryland UNC game. Like, no big deal. Meanwhile, my childhood memories are like daydreaming of this moment. So that was really cool.
Well, you know what I loved about this game as well, Cathy, is there was All-Americans everywhere, but as good as Megan Taylor was, North Carolina also had a great goalie. And if you remember, they made an amazing play right at the end of regulation where they heaved it about 60 yards and almost got the win in regulation before you took it to overtime, Cathy.
Yeah, and both of these teams are just loaded with talent, you know, and Carolina's offense is so dangerous and so good, and anyone on the field for them can score, which is how Maryland's was. And, you know, earlier in this game too, Caroline Steele, you know, one of our top attackers went down with a knee injury. So that was a little scary, and I think frazzled a lot of the players on our team too. But, you know, this game for us being our probably third game into the season, I think as we went through, we really started to settle in and realize our potential as a team defensively with this group. And we had some huge stops defensively, some big saves there, which ended up giving us possession and the chances to score. But with both teams as loaded with talent as they are, it was an exciting game for fans. I think we had a record crowd at this game, if I'm correct. And it was just a huge game all around to start the 2019 season for both teams.
Incredible and great work, particularly Megan, when you were playing with a player down. I think at one point you were even two players down and still were able to hold off North Carolina. Well, that was my game as the coach. Cathy Reese also gets to pick a game in that great 2019 season when you made history, and we'll put that capper on at the end. You picked Syracuse, Cathy. Why'd you pick this game?
Well, another awesome game. Here we are going into overtime again. And we were able to hold Syracuse's offense is so powerful, again, with so many weapons and people that can score. And for us defensively, we were able to hold them in this spot. And so that's, you look at, as you see this coming in, look at our defense sliding and limiting their opportunities. And I think Maggie T and the D kept them scoreless for a good bit of that end part of the game, which allowed us to take the game into overtime and win back-to-back games in overtime this season, which were, you know, the Carolina game and the Syracuse game back-to-back in overtime.
Maggie T, that was a great shot of your footwork right here. You always knew where to be. You turn around it the right way. Watch your footwork. Watch your guard that near post as well. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. Megan Taylor was a thing of beauty.
Well, it's funny because like some games, like you just have these like certain memories. And I feel like the Syracuse game, I definitely do. just because it was one of the colder games. Of course, I'm like all decked out in my cold gear, Under Armour, sweatpants, and then a couple of my teammates aren't even wearing anything. But I remember being like pretty chilly. And so I remember doing warm-ups. I was like, oh my gosh, like it's cold, and like little things like that, like not even the game aspect. But I was telling Cathy when we like decided all this, I was like, oh, I do remember clearing the ball to the other team right away. Like, you know, I just wanted to get into it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to clear it like 60 yards, 50 yards. I like cannot clear that far. Like, know your strengths.
And Megan, the best part of that too is she looks over to the sideline after she throws it to the other team and she goes, oh, I got it out of my system. Like, we won't do that again, in just such a fun and light way. When here you're playing another top 5 opponent and the emotions are running high. That was the way that Maggie T reacted to things, which again, so grounded and kept the whole team grounded. It's so awesome.
And I remember like the very end of this game, you know, Callie ended up scoring off the 8-meter because of that old rule that they had where you could go down to the sides. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, we just worked on this. Like, we worked on it last practice. I was like, this is happening. This is like, you can see it going. And I'm like, I hope we score so they don't come back down. And then I had like, I was sprinting. I don't think I've ever ran so fast in my entire life to the other side of the field. And it was just like all joys and smiles in the locker room. I remember we just like finally had that relief. Like, we've been in this situation one other time before with the UNC, and then to be in it again when we're not used to being in that, you know, it can kind of like you showed that we could handle the pressure. And I think it made our team really excited to like take on all the opportunities of this year.
I must say, Megan, as we move to the game that you picked, I think it's only fitting, getting to know you over the years and also hearing from your SID, Ben Kessler, about how you always gave all the credit to your teammates. It's only fitting that you would pick senior night against Michigan because you had so many great memories. I got to believe that's one of the big reasons why you picked this game.
100%. You know, my class is like, it's a really special group, and we went on this journey for 4 years, and you never know, like, you know, you never know who's going to stay. And we had a majority of people stay, and like, we just clicked really well. And, you know, one of my roommates for 4 years, Catherine Galladay, like that senior night was awesome. I remember I got to clear her the ball, and I was just really excited for that. And it just made me really pumped of like the whole, I'm like, this is our class. Like, we get to enjoy the moment, and we are playing a top undefeated team that kind of came out of the woodworks a little bit. And they were dominant, which was so much fun.
Cathy, you're not surprised she picked the Michigan game, because I know anytime, even live on TV, when I would say the words Megan Taylor, you're a rock, but you would get emotional just hearing her name as a player for you.
Oh, you know it. It was this was a really special game. Michigan came into this game too undefeated. And so another top 10 Big Ten conference opponent coming into our house. Senior night, we were able to, you know, give our seniors a start. We was such a strong senior class. And like Megan said, like their attachment and their friendship and their relationships were something that was really special. And so for them to take the field together and come away with a win against a conference opponent ranked in the top 10 undefeated on a night that was really special for them is something, you know, they'll always remember. And this was a great game for us towards the end of the season as we got ready to head into the Big Ten tournament.
I remember this game, and I feel like a lot of your games, Megan Taylor, I would talk about how with you, I use the overused cliche, the ball looked like a watermelon. You know, when you had those games where the ball looked like a watermelon, because there was more games like that than on the opposite side. But this looks like one of those games where you're seeing everything.
I'm really glad you say that, because I think the very first shot they took, Kenneth like showed us all the film, and she said, this is like one of their plays. Like, this is one of their plays. And it was the very first play. They actually ended up scoring. You know, we were just kind of taking like, you know, senior day festivities. It kind of took us that extra second to be like, okay, let's go. But I remember being like, oh my God, like we got this. Like, we know what their game plan is. We're prepared. But I definitely think that, you know, seeing that watermelon after the first shot, I always laugh because my brother was a goalie as well. And it's like a family inside joke. Like, you never want to make the first save. Like, if you make the first game, like, save, like, my mom and dad are like, oh, God, what's going to happen now? But if you let the goal in, then you can just focus on being you and, like, focus on, you know, just being with your teammates and seeing the ball and seeing whether it's a watermelon or a lacrosse ball or even a golf ball, I felt like at sometimes. But you had that, like, relief. Like, okay, we're going. We're just gonna attack the moment.
And I'm like, I love when Maggie T makes the first save of the game. So that's a little bit different there. But, you know, if you look back on these games that we just highlighted here, her career was something truly, really special, right? And look at the smile on her face as she walks out from senior day. And that's what I was blessed to see for 4 years, is a smile on her face as she became and developed into this awesome leader on the team. You know, someone that everyone just looked to listen to have them direct and be that calming voice, you know, where it's okay if she misses the first save of the game because she's going to have your back and she's going to help lead you through. And, you know, the reason we were successful in 2019 to win the national championship was largely in part to her leadership along with the other members of her senior class. You know, they were just totally solid and positive and smiled and loved each other. Look at them, they're hugging, loving playing together and just enjoying their time on the field representing the University of Maryland. Just totally made for an awesome 2019 season.
Megan, you see the emotion that you draw from Cathy Reese. She loves you so much. You're talking about someone that as a player, as an assistant coach, as a head coach has won 12 national championships. She's the winningest coach in Maryland women's lacrosse history, and that's a great history. What is it about Cathy Reese that makes her arguably the best women's lacrosse coach in the country?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. But the one thing that really pops into my mind, like I know it sounds, but her warmth, like she's just like so warm to be around. So coming in as I got recruited when I was like 15. I literally went onto campus. I met Cathy Reese. I could have cared less about like, you know, the campus itself. Like I just wanted to meet the coaches, see the team. I left and I was in my car ride going home and I go to my dad. I'm like, I'm going to commit tomorrow. Like within that fast. And it was literally one moment that sticks out. It's like at the very end of my visit, we're walking down the stairs of Xfinity where her office is. And right before we go, like she has like her phone in her bag, like everything, like her family's calling. She's just like warm and everybody cares about her. And then she still find a way to like give us big hugs and like, all right, like see you guys later. Like just so positive. And that moment to me, I like hopped in the car and the next day I called Cathy and she was like, wait, why are you calling me so soon? I'm like, can I come? Like, I don't know how this works. I'm only 15, but I think I can come, right? And so that like warmth definitely drew me there. And then as a coach, she's just like competitive. Like I think she makes like, you know, you want to do well because Cathy's watching. You want to make sure you're performing at your best. And like, you know, she always says demand excellence of yourself because I don't think it's fair if she wants that from us not to do that because she just represents Maryland and represents a program and we want to help represent her because she built something so incredible and just, you know, I'm just so happy I got to be a part of it, Cathy. Like, you're just amazing.
And I will never forget that phone call because it was so quick after your visit. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And you're like, hey, I want to come to Maryland. Can I come? And I'm like, what? I almost drove off the road. I was like, are you kidding? Of course.
Yeah, like, it's just so fun. Like, so family oriented. She knows, like, you know, lacrosse isn't a job. And that's something I think not a lot of people understand. Like, you should be doing it because you love the game. And she like really installs that from the moment as an official visit happens. She installs like, you know, get the double fried rice at Sakura, like, you know, get that and enjoy that because, you know, tomorrow we'll be running or like we're going to demand excellence the next day. So like enjoy this time. And I think that's something that immediately drew me because I kind of love that personality and kind of get attached to it, like that warmth and happiness. So I'm just really happy I found her and found Maryland.
Me too.
Well, and Cathy, I felt like we collectively started building up toward making history. You saw this right here at Johns Hopkins winning the national championship. While the season was going on, we started talking about it during the games on the Big Ten Network. Hey, why not a goalie to win the Tewaaraton, right? Why not? And lo and behold, Cathy Reese, history was made.
Absolutely. And well-deserving is so. And I think, you know, when you watched her play through the Final Four and we hit the national championship game and here she's going up against great shooters all season long and then going up against Boston College's offense, which was very strong and powerful and had some really key clutch saves at the end for us to come away with a victory. I mean, she earned it. You know, she did this herself and something that we as the University of Maryland lacrosse program and alums and coaches and players are all just super proud of.
You see that picture right there, Megan Taylor? This one first with Cathy winning a national championship. What's it mean?
Oh, it's so fun. Like, I just want to go back, Cathy. I mean,
And it makes me cry because I get so proud of her.
it was just one of those moments where, like, you can, like, finally say, like, we did it. Like, we did it together. And, you get to host a trophy and just give hugs out to every single person, even if, like, you didn't play with them. I remember at the tailgate afterwards while we're, like, eating our food and, just, like, seeing all the past alums. I don't even know some of them, but I'm hugging them. They're hugging me. And it just shows, like, the Maryland culture and how excited, and that what Cathy kind of installed in all of us is, like, go out there and, like, play for each other and enjoy it. And, good things happen when you care for each other.
Absolutely.
So then, go ahead, Cathy.
No, I just said absolutely. And we have, such an awesome alumni group following, and everyone was just so proud of every player on this team, and especially Maggie T. And for those people that were blessed to know her, like, look at her smile, and just that energy radiates. And I think that's something that even the alums can feel from watching from the stand or listening to her talk with you on different BTN broadcasts or whatever it may be. And, she's an easy person to love.
Great alumni base, by the way, folks, might be the understatement of the year. This Maryland alumni base makes Ohio State and Michigan football fans look small, to be honest with you. And Megan, here's the deal. Then you get to put on that beautiful Maryland red dress. You get to go to this ceremony. When you heard your name called and you won that beautiful trophy, what did it mean?
Honestly, I kind of was just in shock. I remember, like, okay, hug everybody, like, hug Jen, like, find Jen, get down the line and find Jen. That was, like, my main thing. Like, I wanted to give her the biggest hug. And then looking back, someone showed me this video of the moment happening, and you see Jen's reaction, and it just, like, means the entire world to me, how excited she was for me. But besides that, I guess that feeling I had was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they picked a goalie. I can't, like, Cathy kind of was like, Meg, do you have any sort of idea, like, if you do win, like, what you're going to say the night before? And I was like, no, Cathy, like, I'm just here to enjoy the moment and, like, so excited to see everybody. And she's like, okay, maybe just get an idea. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but like make sure you can pronounce everything correctly and, like, just, like, really nail it on and I'm like, all right, like, maybe I'll just start thinking. So I remember being up there shaking, and I'm not, like, a public speaker, but I'm not scared to talk, but I was never in a moment, like, on the lacrosse field or anywhere where I was ever shaking. And I remember just holding on to, like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of people. Just look straight ahead and, like, just get through. And then I actually ended up going behind the curtain afterwards, after I gave my speech. And the lady, I guess I looked, like, so white in the face. She goes, do you need, like, gum? Like, I don't have food. Like, are you going to pass out? And I was like, if you have gum, that's fantastic. And I popped, like, 8 pieces of gum in my mouth just to get some flavor back. But definitely an exciting moment just for the Terps. And, I'm really happy that my family got to be there. And it's just really cool for the game of this lacrosse. I think that's what it comes down to. And I didn't realize that during the moment about how special, it is to be one of the first goalies. And I just hope that now, you don't put the most unathletic kid in the goal, or you don't put somebody that doesn't want to play lacrosse. Now you're kind of, putting someone that cares about it and it's super athletic and just wants to go out there and enjoy getting hit with the ball.
Well, this was brilliant. I know Cathy Reese has a slew of kids, Megan Taylor, but I also know, based on her comments, she would adopt you in a second if you were available. And I feel like all your teammates would also adopt you. Congratulations on making history, a national championship season, and then capping it off as the first goalie to win the Tewaaraton. I want to thank Cathy Reese, the legendary head coach for Maryland women's lacrosse, and Megan Taylor for joining us for this Big Ten video recall. Great job, Megan. Great job, Cathy.
Thanks, Dean.
Thank you.